Yeah, well, one of the things that I really don't like is the amount of editing that happens with recordings nowadays. One of the things you don't realise as a person who just buys CDs and listens to them is that they've had a lot of airbrushing taking place. You can understand the concept with photographs of models in magazines where the model's gone to the photo shoot and she's got a big zit on the end of her nose. Well, that's no problem, you see, because when it comes to when it goes out, they just airbrush out the spot. Well, they do exactly the same with music, and in fact, after a recording is done, they send it out to an engineer, a mastering engineer, and they take out all the extraneous noises. They soften the sound, they take out the peaks and troughs, and this is in the way I understand it, this is like airbrushing, okay? But for me, the breathing, the whistles, the wrong notes, the peaks and troughs are all part of the character of the music. They're part of the character of the performance, they're part of my character. Okay, so it makes me not look conventionally as beautiful or sound as beautiful as I could. I could have sent this off to a digital masterer. I could have all the mistakes taken out, and it's very clever what they do. They take it from me. They can do an awful lot of jiggery-pokery, changing the pitch of individual notes, individual bits. They can change the timbre of the sound, etc. So what I'm basically saying is that I'm very anti-interference. To me, the beauty is not in perfection. Okay, Western society is obsessed with perfection because of the perceived beauty that it imbues on things, but to me it just ain't. Okay, it's all an illusion, and I don't want to draw the curtain over your eyes in that way. So after I did this recording, I wanted as little messing around as possible, and I just wanted to say that because I think I'm just a purist. I don't like that kind of messing around. Okay, I heard of a recording once which had 150. Sorry, someone's pulling out in front of me. 157 drop in, drop out edits from different takes, from different recording takes. That's just you don't get a sense of the piece of music as it flows from one moment to the next with that kind of editing. You don't get a performance. If you listen to my recording, for example, quite often, particularly in the dances, there are repeats. Okay, what I mean is that you play a section, and then after you play that section, you have to repeat that section again. Okay, quite often you will hear me make a mistake the first time around, and in the second time round, I won't make the mistake, because when I come around to playing it the second time, I think I made a mistake there, or a slight intonation thing, or a slight noise that I didn't like, and it affects my performance in the second half. I modulate my interpretation, because to me a slight off note can be musical. It affects the way you play the next thing. you might need a little bit of extra time because of a difficult bit. And so when you come to play it the second time, you give it that time and you understand why you've given it that time because you've heard it the first time. These things are subtle things, I know, but they're very important. If you mess around with the recording too much, you lose all of that. You just hear fakery. I'm not into fakery. I don't care how rough. Look, it comes down to this, right? My two favourite recordings of all time are the pianist Cortot playing Chopin. What are they? Chopin Nocturnes, I think. And they're all done. I think he's live on stage, playing really hard piano music. But it's my favourite because his interpretation is just sublime. But you hear him playing fists full of wrong notes sometimes, and that's normal, but it's just very exciting. The other recording that's my favourite recording is David Oistrakh playing the Brahms Violin Concerto with the Cleveland Symphony Orchestra. I don't know when the recording was made, but to me it sounds like he's had a really bad day at the office, because the orchestra plays an introduction and then he comes in and it sounds like he's in really, really pissed off mood. He wellies the violin and it's not the most perfect. It's just so gutsy, and you know, it's just fantastic for it because no one's messed around with the recording. Well, they might have messed around with it a bit, but you know, it's got that gutsy grit and roughness to it, which I love. And another important thing to mention is that, you know, I remember listening to Heifetz playing what's the piece? Sigan by Ravel, and he does this all the time. It works with when you've got someone accompanying you. People think that perfect ensemble is really vital. So if you're recording with a quartet, you have to record with perfect ensemble. If the ensemble's not right, you have to edit it or take out things. No, that's all wrong, because this is adequately demonstrated by Heifetz, the violinist, because when he plays, he deliberately plays not with everybody else, and it's very exciting. And I'll tell you why it's exciting. Think of, say, a 3-year-old running down a hill, and their head is going slightly faster than their feet, okay? And you know they're about to fall over, and you're like, when's this person going to fall over? This little toddler running down the hill. Well, that's what happens. You can do that with violin playing. If you play slightly faster than the people that you're playing with, it's like watching the downhill skiing. You know, you think, oh, is it going to fall apart? Is it going to fall apart? Because you feel the tension of it almost falling apart, but it never quite falls apart. It creates a huge amount of excitement. So this is something that I've heard Heifetz employ. I've certainly employed it when I've had someone who's accompanying me. And yeah, that's the example where cool ensemble creates excitement. Okay? Perfection isn't all it's cracked out to be. That's all I'm saying. So when it comes to my recording, it does have edits. Okay, I wish it didn't, but the thing is, I recorded it in a weekend. Saturday, Sunday, I must have spent about 12 hours recording it. So basically, I didn't have the luxury of being able to play a movement until it was right. Absolutely perfect, technically perfect. What I've given you in this recording is a performance, a live, gutsy performance, which through its entirety tells a story or a journey, and I think you can hear that, and I hope you can hear it. I know that you can hear it. It's very personal, it's touching, it has beauty, and I really hope that that you love listening to it. That's my hope. I hope that I've introduced this music to you, this Bach, and that you'll love it.